Yeah.
He's saying 2 minutes, be seated. You can always go back and get food.
Okay.
Let's get going.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. If I could have your attention, please, for a moment. This would maybe be our 2-minute warning. We'll be ready to start in about 2 minutes or so. If we could kind of get through the line. Also, if you and there will always be time to go back and get food too. So about 2 minutes, we'll be ready to start. They're handing out a handout, and so again, 2-minute warning. Probably because 10:45, and I saw all the commotion in here. Looks like some are handing out there.
Caleb.
A couple over here. This table, yeah, could use a couple. Sure, why don't you just, hold on to them, and then I'll see if anybody doesn't have one. I'll say, my son Caleb has one for you. Okay. Hey, Caleb, that lady right there, she needs one. Okay. Yes, she absolutely needs, she has to answer all the questions, so give her one. Okay. All right.
Da 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 dun da dun da dun da dun. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. If maybe we could take care of a couple of housekeeping things. Thank you to Elizabeth and her crew standing in the back there. Why don't we give Elizabeth and her group a round of applause and thanks. Thank you to all of our musicians and who helped us to worship Jesus, all those who made this morning possible. We're very thankful. Thank you also to Pastor Burkholz. I'm going to turn things over to him. If we could quietly as we go through the line, we'll try to pay attention to him and to our food, but that will allow us to get the maximum amount of time this morning. So if I'll turn things over, and welcome Pastor Burkholz.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's are we working? Okay. It's a privilege to be here with you this morning. Again, like Pastor Walshman just said, thank you for all the effort that was put into this. It was really cool just to see kids and adults singing today in our service. We get to do that again. This is just a wonderful place. So, privileged to call this a church home now. I have the opportunity to serve as a mission counselor for our church body, specifically as Asian ministry is taking place both here in North America and back in Asia, and some of the crossover work that happens between those two locations. Just simple introduction. I hope I don't lose all you guys in the fact that we're all wearing lion stuff in our family picture. I will say this, we did put on our Milwaukee Brewers t-shirts last night. So we at least did that. So be patient with us. My wife Becky, if you haven't met her yet, she's our new 5th grade teacher here at the school, and we've got all 4 of our kids enrolled in the school as well. So this is a lot of fun to be here at our new church home. So some of them sitting right there. What I'd like to take you through just briefly this morning is a little bit of the history of WELS opportunities to do mission work in Asia and some of the crossover work that's been happening across the Pacific. So I'll go through a little bit of our story, a little bit of the history of what we've done, and then we're going to get to a practical exercise where we look at some Bible passages too. So that's that'll be the direction. Just my background, I graduated from the seminary in 2014. Before graduation, my wife and I had served with the Friends of China program. I know some of you are familiar with that. When I graduated from seminary, then we were assigned to go back to Beijing, China in 2014. So in total, we got to live there for about 7 years. After that, when COVID came around, things changed, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So, a little bit of our history, and this is available on a little more in depth on our website for Asia Lutheran Seminary, which is located in Hong Kong. That is our sister seminary, our WELS seminary in Asia. So you got the history there. Starting, back in 1960 is when we had our first invitation to go and meet with some Chinese Christians in Hong Kong. But what I highlighted there for you in the middle, and I'd like to point this out, not just because I was part of the program, but as we have a chance with history to reflect and see some of the things, right, that God allows us to see some of the things that he was doing. A big part of what took place and what we are still being blessed by is the lay mission work that started in 2000 with the Friends of China program. We graduated our first set of Chinese pastors from Asia Lutheran Seminary, full MDiv pastors back in 2016. 5 out of those 6 were connected back to Friends of China. So people that were not trained as pastors and teachers necessarily went over to China to teach English and to build relationships. That started in 2000. That group is still going. They've rebranded now. They're called Friends Network. But as we look back on that history, the relationships that were built, the doors that were opened to us, so much of it goes back to people, again, not trained as pastors or teachers, just as Christians, going and sharing their faith, being faithful in their jobs, teaching English, and building relationships. It's a pretty cool story that we have. Our mission field departure. Back in 2019, we had several WELS pastors that were actually stationed in the country of China, my family included. It wasn't actually because of COVID that we had to leave. There began some security concerns, and you guys are probably familiar with hearing some of those stories. The government started a few years before that, encouraging missionaries from Korea. Maybe you guys know that. The second most missionaries from what country in this world? It is Korea. Korea sends the second most missionaries, only second to the United States. So back in 2012, those Korean missionaries were being pushed out, and then 2016, there started to be a push for Western missionaries to be out of China. There was never any physical persecution that we experienced, but there was the encouragement that if the people that we had trained to be pastors and teachers, the people that we had shared the gospel with, if we didn't want issues for them, it would be good for us to go. So at that time, we left. That happened in 2019. COVID happened shortly after that, and things changed. As I share some of these things, it's not a bother to me at all. If you've got a question or a comment you'd like to share, please shoot your hand up. Happy to go back and forth as we go through these things. So, 2019, our WELS pastors, they have to leave China. What comes next? As you look back at the history of mission work, including world mission work, things changed in the last 100 years. The mentality used to be that if let's say a Western missionary, so a pastor from North America went to another country, he essentially had the mentality to be that pastor of the group. But things have changed over the last 100 years, and I think for the good. And a lot of the thought from a book like this, that we are not the hero. The concept is this, that instead of going over and being the guy, being that pastor of a group of people. Instead, we would train people of that country who speak that language fluently, who know the culture, to be the leaders of the church and leaders of the mission. So in 2019, we had to kind of assess, okay, did we do our job? Because essentially our job was to work ourselves out of a job and to be training other people to do that work. It's a lot of fun to report to you that God is continuing to bless the efforts of our pastors and teachers throughout Asia, the ones that have been trained, that our churches still gather, that our people who are teaching children, that still happens. Some of the ways that happens is through programs that we have in WELS called TEL. You guys might be familiar with that program going out throughout South America. We also have TEL Mandarin or TEL Chinese, that those programs continue to grow, that we get more and more people involved in those programs. Opportunities for us to teach some of the basic things of the Bible to people, to Chinese people throughout the world through this program, done in Chinese, so that we don't have to deal with the language barrier. We also get an opportunity to partner with a number of other groups. Some of you mentioned that to me this morning, that you got connections with 316 Now. The WELS brothers and sisters that do that work, Friends Network, we also get to partner with. And also our multi-language publications. So we get to produce a whole bunch of materials and opportunities for us to get the gospel out there, even though we can't physically be present like we once were. My role specifically is with the WELS Joint Mission Council. And that's just alphabet soup for basically saying the work that we do in North America as WELS and the work that we do in other countries as WELS, sometimes there's crossover between those things. People who hear the gospel in the United States take the gospel back to their country of origin. We want to help and equip and empower those people to do that kind of work. People that maybe have gotten connected with our world missionaries or our mission efforts that then come to North America, we want to get them connected and plugged in to our opportunities like this, to gather as Christians in a setting like this. So that crossover back and forth. That's ultimately the purpose of what we want to do in the JMC. Any questions on any of that, or just the background, the story with our history? Okay. All right, what does that practically look like? Example number one, maybe just to tell a story. We've got a congregation that's been, a WELS congregation that's been outside of Anaheim, California since about the 1960s. And that congregation is just a few miles down from the biggest Vietnamese community in the United States, in Garden Grove, Westminster, California. For years, for decades, that congregation, they wanted to reach out to the Vietnamese people, but they weren't sure how to do that. And so several years ago, some of our Vietnamese men that we've trained through our seminary and then in our joint missions office, we were able to go and work with that congregation and say, how could we do this? Yes, there's some cultural barriers. Yes, there's some language barriers. But how do we rise above that or get around that? So we were able to do that. By God's grace, we are doing just that, and it's awesome. What you see there, the picture on your left as you look at the screen, that's the installation of 2 new pastors that took place 2 years ago at that congregation. The pastor on the left-hand side, his name is Trung Lie. He is a Vietnamese man, serving as our outreach missionary to the Vietnamese community from our WELS Church in Garden Grove, California. The man on the right is a fluent Spanish speaker, and he serves as our pastor for Pan de Vida congregation. And then we have King of Kings with their English worship. So on any given Sunday at that WELS Church location, we have worship services in 3 different languages. And all 3 congregations are getting to know each other, spending time together and supporting each other in ministry. So it's a little slice of heaven to see that. Really enjoyable. So working with that congregation, preparing them to do some of the things that it takes to understand and just go reach out to a different people group. A little bit of that, I want to take you guys through this morning. So the handout that you have, your piece of paper, is a little bit of an introduction to some of the things that we talk about. What does it look like to just go to a different people, to a different culture, and bring the good news of Jesus? So what you have by way of this handout, it's It's referencing a book called the 3D Gospel. And this book proposes that there are essentially three different backgrounds or three different idea systems, especially when it comes to reading the Bible. So I'll read the opening paragraph there for you. Christian missiologists identify three responses to sin in human cultures. We have to reckon with three different types of reactions to transgressions of religiously sanctioned codes: fear, shame, and guilt. These three moral emotions have become the foundation for three types of culture. Now, my encouragement on something like this is we learn and understand and study a little bit. I hope that we do so, not so that we walk out of here feeling like we're experts, but maybe it's that we're better equipped to ask better questions. I think there's a big difference there. It's good for us to study and learn, but ultimately we use a tool like this maybe to sit and listen, ask a good question, and then listen and learn, okay? So just because, somebody might be connected to one of these cultures and one of these ideas doesn't mean that they're only connected to that one. Or if they're from some country that's often connected with one of these, we don't just assume that this is exactly who they are. But when you learn these things, maybe you're better equipped to ask some questions and to learn more about them. Can I have a reader just to read through guilt, innocence, number 1 there? If you're done eating your food. If you're still eating your food, I won't pick on you. But yes, please.
Guilt, innocence culture. Individualistic societies, mostly Western, where people who break the laws are guilty and seek justice or forgiveness to rectify a wrong.
Okay, thank you. Reader for shame, honor. Number 2. Yep.
Shame on culture describes collectivistic cultures common beliefs where people are shamed for not fulfilling group expectations and who seek to restore their honor before the community.
Okay. Finally, fear, power. Yeah, please.
Fear power culture refers to a community context, typically tribal, where people who are afraid of evil and want to pursue power of this group through magical rituals.
Okay. Thank you. We must have a really good 6th grade teacher because we got these 6th graders being bold to read. So well done back there. Yeah. All right. Person's cultural orientation shapes their worldview, ethics, identity, and notion of salvation even more than their individual personality does. For this reason, awareness of culture types helps us anticipate cultural clashes and communicate the gospel three-dimensionally to the world. What this book is proposing is this: that is, certain people with their backgrounds, right, as they bring those backgrounds into reading the Bible, different Bible passages might speak to them or hit them in a different way. It's not saying that just because a passage might strike somebody from a fear-power culture, doesn't mean that passage isn't for us, right? All of God's word is useful for all of us, right? But just having an understanding of people with their backgrounds, they may read something in a different way, or it may hit them in a different way than maybe you and me, okay? So what I'd like you to do, if you've got a pen, or you can just write your answers, I'd like you to go through these Bible passages in the book of Ephesians, and I'd like you to take your best guess. Do you think that passage is speaking strongly to a shame, honor, guilt, innocence, or fear, power culture? Okay? And you are absolutely allowed to cheat, to work with your neighbor. When we ask for answers, you can offer your partner's answers. You're absolutely allowed to do that. I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Work through those Ephesians passages and write, go ahead. Work through those passages and write down what you think. Shame, honor, guilt, innocence, or fear, power. We need a pen. There's one pen. You got a pen? You got a pen? Okay. Yeah. Okay, it's all good. Yeah. No, I think we ran out, man. Okay. Yeah. So you're off the hook. Yeah.
Timing was a little bit off. I thought you were wrapping up, and I'm like, all right, this is a good time for me to jet.
I'm just taking up the whole space, man. I'm
Continued with, and I'm like, oh.
I'm just being selfish.
No, not at all.
Well, sorry, was it? No, he did not. My dad is a WELS pastor, but he. Yeah, right. Yeah, you gotta be careful on that. Yeah. Okay. All right, how we doing? Oh, yeah, sorry.
15 minutes.
About 15 minutes?
Some time.
Okay. 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 All right. Everybody feeling confident about some answers there? No. No. Okay. There's a little bit of confidence there. Okay. All right. Who's brave enough to offer one? That first passage there from Ephesians chapter 1, verse 5a. In love, he predestined us for adoption to sonship through Jesus Christ. What'd you guys put out there? Okay, I heard some shame, honor. Why? What made you say shame, honor?
Because it doesn't matter what you have done, sinful or whatever, even if it's against your culture or norms.
Yeah.
Jesus has already adopted you.
Yeah. Right? The family, right? So much of what in the shame, honor culture, right? The family, more than the individual, the family matters, right? What does my family think of me? What does my family want to do as I approach this decision to make, right? The family is so involved. So this one's saying, you are adopted through sonship through Jesus Christ. Telling somebody from that culture that God actually welcomes you, You don't have to worry, try to earn it, but God is saying, come and be a part of the family. Speak pretty powerfully to somebody from that background. Good. How about number 2? What'd you guys put? You put shame on it? Go ahead. Why? Yeah, to be bought back, right? Yeah, you're not lost, but you've been bought back, right? That has been restored. That relationship has been restored. That's really good, yeah. Any other ones for that? Okay, why'd you put guilt, innocence?
Because in guilt and innocence, people seek justice or forgiveness, and in this one, it says we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sin.
Yeah, I think you can see both of them there, right? We love that picture of the judge declaring us not guilty, right? The gavel coming down, you are not guilty. Blood was shed, you are paid for. You have been bought back with that blood, right? You are no longer guilty, but you are declared innocent. Yeah, I think you can see both of them there. Good. Wow, this 6th grade class. Holy cow. Great. Okay. All right. How about number 3? What'd you guys put for that one? Yeah. Fear power. Why so? Exactly, the word power in there, right? Yeah, right? Power and dominion, far above all ruler and authority, right? This is God. Somebody coming from that background, that culture, very likely could be thinking, right, waking up and afraid of spiritual things. Now, that may not be so common in the United States in 2025, right, that we get up thinking about and worried about spiritual powers in this world. But the Bible reveals to us absolutely that is true, right? Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but about the spirits, right? There are other people that really do focus in on that. And when you come and you hear what God has to say in response to those fears, those trepidations, and you hear that God is powerful, and not just a little bit powerful, but more powerful than all of it, that's pretty awesome news to a heart and mind that could be worrying about some things. Yeah. Of course, that verse is for us too, but somebody coming from a different background, how special that must be for them to hear. This is a God who is for you, and this is a God who loves you. How about number 4? That's the guy that gave me a hug after, right? Yeah, okay, all right. Number 4, what'd you guys put? Somebody that's not a 6th grader. Okay. So good, yeah. What'd you put? Yeah. What was it? Guilt, innocence. Good. Why? Why'd you put guilt, innocence? Yeah, those contrasting ideas, right? You were dead, but now you're made alive, right? You are guilty, which means you are dead. You deserve death. But you are made alive, which means you're innocent, which means you have new life, which means there's a place for you in heaven, right? Yeah, that guilt, innocence. Yeah. Okay. How about number 5?
I put fear power.
Fear power? Why?
Because it said for the fear part, it's like saying we're strangers and we're scared of God, but for the power, He has brought us back.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's a great explanation, right? I'm glad you defended that answer, right? That fear of, okay, I may be separated from God, right? But God's bringing me back, right? What could be keeping me? There might be some bad things in my life. I might be afraid of some spiritual things going on, but God's saying He's going to bring me close. Yeah, that's great. Go ahead. Anybody else have a different answer for that one? Yeah, please. Yeah. Yeah, great, right? The shame of being outside, right? If you are shamed in that way and you're outside, you're not welcome to the family anymore. The one thing you absolutely want is to be back in that family, to have that honor again of being part of the family, right? So hearing that, all right, our sins separate us from that, the shame of that, but then God welcoming us back. You're no longer foreigners and strangers, but you're citizens with God's people and you're members of His household. You're not some servant. You're not some slave going for crumbs. But you get to sit at the table of your Savior, right? The honor of that. Finally, the last one. All right, sixth grader. Because it has the word power. Yep, don't overthink it, right? Yeah. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Right? How that might speak to somebody coming from that context. Good. Backside of your handout there. For some of you, the story might be familiar, right? The prodigal son. Pastor Tim Keller termed this the prodigal God. So if you've ever seen that book, I think it's a great book as he goes through this story. We don't have the time to, well, actually, no, we do. We got 2 minutes. Why don't you go ahead, 2 minutes, familiarize yourself again with this story. And then the question at the end, why might someone from a shame-honor culture both appreciate and become frustrated with this story? So go ahead, on your own or with your group, read over it. Why might they become both frustrated and appreciate this story? All right, I know I did not give you enough time to digest the passage nor digest your food, but anybody got a response to that? Yes, please. You want me to put Luke on the spot? Oh, poor Luke. No, Luke's my old friend. I can't do that to him. Yeah, right. So, right, Luke is from China, right? And traditionally, people from Asian countries, right, may fall into this category. Now, Luke is a great example, and his family is a great example of this, right? Now that they're living here in the United States, right, they're coming from a bunch of different backgrounds, right? And so things do change, especially as their kids are growing up here, too. So, Luke, I will not put you on the spot unless you want to be on the spot, buddy. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. That's great. Yes, you are. Everyone is welcome to volunteer somebody else's response. I love that. Go ahead. What did Luke say?
The fact that the first son who shamed his father, did all the things wrong,
Yeah.
was then accepted back by him.
Yeah.
He really appreciate that his father didn't just, turn his head away from him and, you're a lover, my son, and I can't get past that shame that you brought on me.
Right, that child that is resolved to, maybe I could be a servant in my father's house, right? But to have that honor restored, right? To actually be welcomed back as part of the family, right? Yeah, you appreciate a story like this coming out of the background. But why could it be also become frustrating? You hit the first part, thank you. Right, you appreciate that. Why could that be frustrating? Yeah. Yes, right. So much emphasis is on keeping that honor, right? Keeping face, right? Don't embarrass the family, don't hurt the family, right? And look at what this son did. and you're just going to welcome him back, right? That's grace, sometimes being offensive to people, right? God is so freely giving that grace. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, the temptation for work righteousness, right? That, okay, I earn this, right? I kept the honor, I earned this. Absolutely. Yeah, please.
Part of the frustration is in the very last line. Dead and is alive again. So the brother is thinking to himself, I'm so mad at you,
Yeah.
but I don't really want you to go to hell. But I'm so mad at you. And that's part of the frustration.
Right.
And lost is now found.
Yeah.
You know, and you took him back, but we had to take him back.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be right not to.
That internal wrestling of he doesn't deserve this, but you're letting him back into the family, right? Ultimately, all of us Christians, wrestle with that. All the more important for us to go back to the foot of the cross and remember that we do not deserve that, right? That we do not deserve any honor. We do not deserve any declaration of innocence, right? To go back and see that offensive, that incredible, amazing grace that God brings to us. Oh, yep.
Also, another reason why they're frustrated is because they don't just welcome him back, but they put the best robe on him.
Yeah.
Best gold ring, and they're like, hold him back for that order.
Yeah.
For someone who's wanted their love, that's
Yeah. Maybe you could understand if like, okay, you could take a little side position, go live in a shack in the backyard. But a ring, a coat, the fattened calf, the best meal, right? A meal maybe equal to today, right? Let's celebrate this for the son who brought us shame. Oh, that's tough. That's hard. Thank you for that. Thank you for thinking through that. What I've got up on the screen is just to let you know the locations that we have throughout the United States and in Canada where we have pastoral students from our seminary serving, but also men that we have trained, Chinese men who are pastors serving in different locations. Not only are they serving in their locations, and we get to work with them and encourage them, but they're also doing the hard work of reaching back into Asia and connecting with Chinese all throughout the world. So this is our privilege that we get to partner with these men in this work. Yeah.
What's the difference between the Red Cross and the Blue Cross?
Yes, the Red Cross is men that are fully trained pastors. The Blue Crosses are men who are still in training. Thank you for that clarification. Yeah. So our seminary up in Mequon, not too far away from here, we have a satellite program where we're able to train and teach people who are in different locations. So that's part of what we do. Okay. Thank you guys very much for this. I'd love to tell you more. I'd love to talk to you more. Great thing is I get to see you from week to week, but we got to stop here now. Please feel free to come up to me later with other questions or other things you'd like to talk about, but I appreciate the chance to speak with you today.
Thanks, Pastor Brooks.
Yeah.
Couple of quick announcements. How about we thank all the food providers and servers again? That's wonderful. Thank you. Two things. The room needs to be turned over for practice for our players for second service, so if you can exit a little bit more quickly than you would. Feel free to take some food with you. If you brought any dishes, take them. And also take your garbage and throw it away. That would be great. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Good job.
Oh, thanks, man.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I'm Beth Nolte.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Do you ever run across Aaron Wakeman or Jeremy Seeger?
I do.
They are my nephews.
They are your nephews. Okay,
so
okay.
say hi. please.
Okay, I will do that. I'll for sure see Jeremy in January when we all have a meeting
Okay.
together in
Okay.
Thailand. Yeah, but yeah, I see Aaron from time to time.
Last year, that one we all meet together, my sister and her husband were with them.
Okay.
Because they were visiting Jeremy and Grace, and they were invited to come along.
Okay.
My sister said we were the oldest people there.
Yeah.
They really loved seeing that.
Yeah. And all those people serving over there, they really do appreciate people coming and just
that's nice.
supporting them, worshiping with them and be a part of it. So, okay. Well, you got two good nephews. Those are good guys.
Oh, Well, I just wish you God's blessings.
Yeah.
I just love to keep in touch with what's going on in there.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, cool, very cool. Thank you. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I want to come to say hi.
Yeah.
Pizza Pastor.
The Pizza Pastor. That is the best name I've ever heard. Yeah.